What's up, guys? Welcome to the Forge Gaming, and this is podcast number 10. We've been doing these every single week since our channel started, and we've been around for 10 weeks now. It's pretty crazy. And once again, as always, I'm here with Mr. Olamande, or Troy.
What's up, everybody? Podcast number 10. That is excellent. I'm juiced. This
Yeah,
is this has been and we've been doing this for a while now. You know.
yeah. It was the Tuesday that the Division came out that we actually first started this. So it's pretty crazy that we've come this far. Of course, the podcasts haven't always been on Mondays, but that's how that kind of went. But
Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, we've got some pretty hot topics to go over with you guys, and got some Doom gameplay in the background, courtesy of Troy,
Yeah.
and so pretty
Doom's,
good stuff.
Doom's been a fun game. Been playing it out. It is great. If you haven't picked it up, go Redbox it, GameFly it, do something, try it out. If you missed that beta, it was great.
Yeah, yeah. I haven't gotten a chance to play it yet, but I definitely plan to. All right. Well, we're today going to be discussing a pretty broad subject, but it is basically the future of gaming because, we're hitting that time where, a lot of things seem to be transitioning, and we're gonna talk that over. So, Troy,
Yeah.
you want to kick that off?
Yeah. First thing is well, I'm gonna kick it off with this quote that we have from Ubisoft CEO Yves Guillemot, and he said here, now on the console side, we expect there will be new consoles that are going to make the market continue to grow. We feel we still have another generation of consoles before we have new types of consoles coming to the market. We believe in streaming. It demands lots of bandwidth. We think it's going to grow, but today, with the types of games we have, it will still take a bit of time to be more popular.
Hmm.
And that is our quote for today. And there's also a second quote from NVIDIA CEO who says console gaming could be coming to an end soon.
But you had to kind of take it a little bit with a grain of salt because
Yeah,
he is, a person that's on the PC side of
yeah,
things. So
that may
I'm
be a
sure
little
he'd hope for
bias
that.
there.
But
There may be a
yeah,
little
yeah.
bias in there.
Yeah, but yeah, like I said, a lot of transition. There's now keep in mind that a lot of the stuff we're going to be going over is not confirmed or
Yeah,
solid fact, but a lot of it is what signs are indicating towards and what we're seeing growing patterns of. So that's kind of what we're here to discuss today. But there's definitely evidence of each one. So
yeah. Uh, the question is, will we see uh, a gaming Netflix type thing happen? Will that happen?
hmm.
We have Netflix, we have Hulu, we have Amazon Prime. Are we going to see gaming tap into that?
Yeah, and we're going to talk about retailers here in a little bit, but I feel like those are the guys really listening into this because man, a couple places are already trying to do this. PlayStation Now is sort of doing this, and it would free up a lot of things because you wouldn't have to go through the massive download size of games that are growing exponentially now, and you'd have a wider variety. You could pay for this amount of time or that amount of time. If I wanted to stream a single player, like if I wanted to go through Uncharted 4, then I'd probably rent it for 3-4 days, maybe a week tops, just to
Yeah,
make sure I beat it, then just be done with it. Or if it works like a rental, if it works like it's a subscription base, it just all depends on what they want to do. Troy, what are your thoughts?
yeah. I think it could totally go the way of Netflix. And the thing is that we've seen this before. And I think we've talked about it before. I think I talked with you about it before, Judah. But the Sega Channel.
Yeah.
Um, Back in the day, during the days of the Sega Genesis and the 32X, if you had, I believe it was Time Warner Cable. I believe that's what it was.
Hmm.
Um, if you had Time Warner Cable, you had access to this channel. You would well, it wasn't exactly, well, in a sense it was streaming, but you still had to use the console. but the
Right.
console would hook up to your cable box, and you would use that cable box, and you would pay a monthly subscription through your cable company, through Time Warner Cable, and you had access to every Sega Genesis game that existed.
Right.
This was a big thing. Now the thing about this back then was that back then cable wasn't really all that popular. Cable was still kind of new. People were, not too many people were paying for extra shows to watch TV and movies.
Right.
And so like things like HBO and Showtime were fresh and new at that time, and like only people that were balling out of control and rich, really had cable back then.
Right.
Me growing up, we had cable I remember having cable for like maybe like a couple of months. My dad had gotten it and tried it out, and it was
Hmm.
nice. And then it went away, and I don't know why. And then I figured out that hey, we were poor, we couldn't afford it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, I think we could see something going on that way. It may not be completely streaming. We may not get away from the consoles altogether, but I think we could see some kind of, that sounds really similar to PlayStation Now in a
Yeah.
sense, but PlayStation Now is missing a whole lot. It doesn't seem to be working. But
Yeah. It's definitely not picking up like they wanted it to,
yeah,
but I think it's partially because you can't really play all the current games. Like a
yeah,
lot of
that's
it is
the
just
issue.
PS3 games,
Yeah,
and that's the thing is our company is willing to put out games that are fresh and new out for a subscription base instead of getting the full retail price. Which brings up my next question: are the prices of the like? I think the answer is yes, but do you think the prices of these subscriptions would be? I'd say double or triple the amount of Netflix, which is like what, $8 a month.
oh yeah, because I
You
mean,
know,
if you
the
compare movies to video games, movies usually run $20, video games run
right,
60.
right, right. The
That's
retail price is a lot more, so it'd have to be a pretty costly subscription,
yeah,
which would vary between people because some people are going to want to play longer, some people are going to play shorter. That it's the casual versus the hardcore,
yeah.
groups. So, are you gonna which one are you gonna cater to most? Which is why I think having both would be a whole lot better than going straight to streaming. But you know that that'd be a perfect world is having both, because if it was all streaming, then you wouldn't want every single gamer out there to have to pay $25 a month, even if they only play once a week or something.
Yeah, you wouldn't want that. Oh, yeah. I mean, and another thing is that it would have to make sense for the gamer.
Right.
So overall, it would have to be you'd have to be getting a deal in some kind of sense to where you're getting more bang for your buck. Otherwise, then why even change it? So
Right.
overall, um, it has to save the developers money. It has to save the streaming companies or console makers money, which in turn would
Yeah.
save us money. So
Right. It's definitely a whole different market than movies, though, because that's everybody. Who doesn't watch
yeah,
movies?
yeah.
So,
Maybe it's time for videos to catch up with the times. I mean, for video games to catch up with the times. Movies and television have already moved on to streaming, and it's become a big thing. People have Netflix now. Don't even have regular TV. Don't have
I
cable.
don't.
Yeah,
All I have is Netflix. I have Netflix and a little TV antenna that gets me the news channels.
yeah. Well, I'm balling, so I have cable and Netflix.
Yeah,
So
that's because you live in California. You get Comcast for cheaper than you get Comcast TV and internet for cheaper than my internet.
yeah, it's definitely a better deal.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
I think
All right.
I was gonna say I think we can transition into our next topic from this, which would be uh, we talked about streaming, and with some news about the Nintendo NX. Is that that's what it's
Hmm.
going to be called?
It's the code name
Yeah,
for it. It
code
probably
name.
won't be the actual one.
Yeah, we'll see what it will be called. But it's looking like there's some rumors circling around that they might be moving back to cartridges, instead of
Yeah,
disc.
I would love it. I mean, I've always been more of a fan of cartridges than of discs, partially just because of how sturdy they are.
Yeah,
You can just the old Nintendo 64 ones you could just toss around. You'd have like a I remember having like a Tupperware bucket full of all the games that we had for the 64, and they are, they don't get scratched. Like a disc, if it gets scratched too much, you can't use it anymore. And you could get one of those cartridges and stab it with a knife, and it would potentially still work.
Yeah.
So I do think that the size is a bit of a problem. I like take the portable consoles like the Vita and the DS. If they're along that size, then that's great. You can store them real small and stuff, and it's still just as compact as a disc. But I feel like the old cartridges are just way too bulky. But what I was really hoping that they would go for, and this will kind of go into, I guess it kind of goes into the future of consoles in general, which I guess is kind of what we're summarizing here is, instead of, cartridges, make it just a little USB drive. You just plug it into the back of the console. It works just like it,
Yeah. Well, what I would like to see, I would like to see them create a console that would have like built into the console have numerous of maybe 10 SD card slots and use SD cards, and you can
Sure.
actually plug in or install 10 10 games at a time, you know,
Yeah.
and they're just in there and you have access to them. You can go right to it, and for a game that you're not going to be playing for a while, take it out and put in your fresh new game,
Right.
store it away
Which is
somewhere.
and they're talking about the Nintendo being, more powerful than the current consoles, and if that's the case, then, there's all kinds of possibilities for that.
Yeah.
But I feel like while a lot of other people are starting to go all digital, I really feel like Nintendo's not planning on doing that. I know they have digital games that you can get, but they don't seem to be trying to market that specifically.
Yeah,
I think they're sticking true to their roots, I think.
I feel like they are. I feel like they're going more the way of digital because, I mean, first and foremost, you still can't play DVDs on a Nintendo, like to watch movies. Like
Yeah.
they seriously do not care about people watching movies or anything. You know,
Hmm.
no Blu-ray player, no DVD player. I have the Nintendo Wii and I have the Wii U, and you can't play DVDs on that thing. It's just
Right.
Netflix. They really don't care too much about, you know, disc in
Yeah.
general. You know,
Yeah. Well, the new console may be a little bit
yeah,
different, but I think that just because,
and
oh, go ahead.
and if you look at I have a 2DS. If you look at the DS in the game store, it's they always have so many deals in their game store, and Nintendo gets super flack for the Wii U and their consoles not being powerful enough, but their mobile gaming is like top notch. It is super top
Yeah.
notch, and like
Yeah. Well,
their mobile gaming store is on point. Like,
yeah. Well, their problem is it's too specific. They didn't allow so many AAA games to be on it, and the
yeah,
controls are wonky and stuff. But yeah, there's all kinds of stuff they could do with the future. That I mean, we already made an entire podcast, talking about Nintendo, and we talked about you know, the fact that they're coming out with a new console just a couple of years after the last one being released.
yeah.
So I'm curious to see what they have in store, but yeah, I don't know. Troy, do you prefer cartridges or discs? I mean, I know there's advantages to having discs.
Yeah, I mean, I prefer cartridges because, look, I own a Nintendo, an NES, and my NES games have lasted longer than my PlayStation 2 games.
Right.
I got PlayStation 2 games that are scratched up that can't be played anymore.
Yep.
And I have Nintendo cartridges that I've thrown around the room, gotten mad at Super Mario Brothers 2 because it was just a dream, spoiler alert, and, threw it out the window, kicked it outside. It got rained on. All kinds of stuff happened to it. Went back outside, picked it up later the next day, and it still worked.
Yeah.
Yeah. Long live the cartridge. Literally, long live the cartridge.
I definitely don't see anybody but Nintendo going back to cartridges, though. I would be very surprised to see Xbox and PlayStation going that route
It's
with
just
whatever their future is.
it's expensive for the developers. It's just an expensive way to make games. you know.
Right.
But, and if they did go the way of cartridges, then games might get more expensive again. Are we willing to pay that price?
Yeah. Well, that's the question. All right. Well, we got one more topic, Troy.
Last but not least, our last topic is retailers. So where does this leave all the retailers at? Especially the retailers who's so well, okay, the one retailer that is really popular that's their sole purpose is to sell video games.
Right.
And that is GameStop. Yeah, there are other retailers out there that do it, but this is going to affect GameStop more than anybody else. You know,
Yeah.
what does this do to them?
Yeah, I've this has been on my mind a lot lately, and I'm a big fan of GameStop and stuff, and sometimes I'll buy game copies there instead of buying it digitally just because I kind of want to support that old style of things, but there are definitely advantages to buying things digitally. Like I've got probably 4 or 5, maybe 6 games digitally downloaded that I love just having digitally downloaded. I can just, have whatever's in the disc whatever's in the disc tray doesn't matter. I just, start it up and it's going. Um, it typically goes a little bit faster, smoother,
Yeah,
downloads faster, and less clutter, you know.
yeah,
Um, but then the the benefits of having a physical copy. You've got, first of all, there is some resale value, not a whole lot, but then there's also, you get the case. Some people still like getting the cases. They get the little booklet. Then of course there's the physical collector's editions and stuff like that. So,
yeah,
but I really feel like, there's all kinds of times that I'm wishing that the games that I had were all digital, because especially like with the Xbox One now, it doesn't matter if you have a game digital or physical, it still takes up just as much space on your Xbox. I didn't know that originally, so I started buying games on disc thinking I was saving memory,
hmm,
but turns out that it doesn't make any difference. And so, now that you can pre-download games, a day before a game even comes out and it's ready to play, like at midnight, you don't even have to go to the store. But then the flip side of even that is, well, I enjoy going to midnight releases. It's a cool event to be at. So I don't know. It's a hard topic. What do
yeah.
you think, Troy?
All right, so I'm gonna look. I'm gonna dog out GameStop a little bit here. All right,
Hater.
and look. I'm a total hypocrite to everything I'm about to say. Okay, because I'm a Power Rewards member.
Yeah.
I sometimes I go to GameStop and I buy the Xbox Live cards from GameStop just so they can get the sale whenever I buy games digitally and things like that. But GameStop is a ripoff,
Hmm.
especially when it comes to selling your games. Like it is a complete total ripoff. They give you nothing for the value of
Yeah,
your
but
game.
you get more than you would if you had it digitally and you had no choice.
Well,
I
yeah,
mean, at least
that's true.
there's
But
also trade-in value. You
there is
know.
trade-in value, but you can typically for those games that that you would sell back to GameStop, you could get more for it if you sold it on eBay, which is
Yeah.
I mean it's a little bit more work because you have to mail something in, you have to go to the post office or whatever. Or you don't even have to go to the post office, you just have to put it in a box or something like that envelope and
Unless you're mailing
send
your
it to
freaking Titanfall you got behind you, the
yeah,
Titanfall
that's not
statue.
yeah, that thing
Try sticking that in an envelope.
is somewhere back there. But you would get more money off of eBay for your video games than you would from GameStop. And then also on top of that, on the flip side, you would save more if you bought a game from eBay as opposed to buying it from GameStop because the people who are selling it on eBay realize that GameStop will give them next to nothing for it.
Right.
So you kind of, I mean, I'm kind of contradicting myself here, okay? But I think I think I think GameStop's time is coming to an end.
Yeah.
I think the retailer now. I would like to see something different eventually, from the retailers. I
Yeah.
would still like to see the midnight release parties and things like that. I think those can still be popular. You know,
Well, that's what I was gonna bring up is that like we've seen, like I've seen the numbers before. Like I know that sales for physical copies at GameStops are going down, and I've even I know a couple of people that work at the one near me, and they tell me the same thing. And the only thing is that developers and distributors make a decent amount of money off of, the physical collector's editions of things, the people that bought the care package for Black Ops 2, or, the collector's editions of all these other games. And so, would they just have to, cut the chain on all those things and say we're just not going to do that anymore, and just, like, let's say GameStop does go under, where does all that stuff go,
Yeah. Well, I think the one thing that could have saved GameStop and ended up getting swept under the table was what Microsoft was going to do with with the original idea with Xbox, where you would buy the game and then have it install the game through the disc, and then you would just have
Right.
it, and you wouldn't even need the disc anymore to play it. I thought that was going to save GameStop, and that ended up not panning out at all. And there's your dog.
Yeah. Ellie decided to jump in.
What do you think, Ellie? No, but yeah,
Ellie
I
hates GameStop.
hey, we're in the same boat, Ellie. We're in the same boat.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, but you're the one who always goes out and buys, the collector's edition.
oh, well, yeah, I do go out and buy the collector's edition of the games, But I mean, look, the best version of collector's anything I ever bought was my Halo 5 Master Chief and Agent Locke uh, bookend things that I got, and it came with a digital copy of Halo 5. That
Yeah.
was excellent, and I still got
Yeah.
uh, boom, got a steel bookcase for it, even though
Yeah.
it was digital, and it came with all this great stuff. And there's some stuff in here that I didn't even put together that I need to put together eventually. But
Yeah.
that's digital is the way, man. Digital is the way to go. And GameStop needs
Yeah.
to hop on board and see what they can do about either the streaming thing. Otherwise they're going to become the next Blockbuster.
I was just about to say
Yeah.
that. I was literally just thinking, yeah, you don't want to become another Blockbuster. Couldn't get with the times.
Yeah.
Couldn't get with the times.
And Blockbuster had an opportunity to actually buy out Netflix. Netflix was actually selling themselves to Blockbuster, and they were like, no. And that was probably the worst business decision ever made in the history of anything.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, probably so. Yeah, man. And, I hate to see it, even though I do feel like it is coming, I'd give GameStop. I mean, I don't know. I'd probably guess somewhere between 5 to 10 years. I think it's going to take a while. I think what they'll probably do first is kind of like what Radio Shack did. You remember whenever Radio Shacks used to be like really big stores?
Yeah.
And now they're just like the little store on the corner of a little strip center. I feel like that'll happen before they fully go under. Or, maybe they'll be the one to create a streaming service.
Yeah.
I feel like that'd be a pretty good idea for them, just, have that on the table.
Yeah. Dude, I mean, back in the day, man, before GameStop was GameStop, it was FuncoLand. And I actually worked at FuncoLand whenever I was a teenager. And the thing about FuncoLand was that, they had some FuncoLands actually had a back room with a couch and a TV and a flat screen TV in the back with the console hooked up, and you can go back there and you can go play video games. FuncoLand was a great place, not just because you can buy video games, but because you can actually go in there and test the video games out.
Right.
It almost felt like a mini arcade, in a sense.
Yep.
And I'm all aboard on the arcade train of bringing public arcades back. And there's a great one over here in Berkeley that the guys from Nerd Basics showed me, but and I'll be hitting that one up pretty soon sometime. But yeah, they need to do something in order to keep people coming, and they need to come up with some kind of idea. Otherwise, it is
Needs to be
over.
fast.
Yes, it would be over.
Definitely needs to be fast. Oh, man. Well, Troy, we're starting to hit the end of the time here, but I think that wraps up most of what we wanted to talk about. But once again, guys, just, let us know what you think in the comment section. Let us know, one, what you want to see happen, and two, what you think is going to happen, because that may not necessarily be the same thing. What are you more of a fan of? I feel like digital is probably the more popular, but, there are those I feel like the people who really want the physical aspect more are the people that have been gamers for a longer amount of time.
Yeah.
The ones who held on to all their old games and all that, but kids nowadays aren't that sentimental, so we'll see.
No sentiment. Come on, guys.
Yeah. Well, it's been good,
It's been fun.
Yeah, man. Troy, you have any closing thoughts? Are you good?
Yeah, I mean, times are changing, and I'm an older guy. I've been playing since NES, and I'm willing to move along with the times and where they go, and see what happens from there.
Yeah. Don't become EB Games. All right. Well, as always, guys, drop a like if you enjoy. Check out the playlist for a whole lot more, and subscribe for more every single day. And we will see you guys online.
Later, guys.